Welcome in to 7-6 Live Countdown, presented by Tissot. Who said newspapers were dead? I mean, check this out. Read all about it. Tobias Harris, the machine, an all-star candidate for the 76ers this year. You never know what you'll find on the stoop of your home in Northern Liberties. I mean, look at this stuff. We got the machine. We got the floor general, Ben Simmons. Yes, that looks nice. And then, of course, Embiid for Joel Embiid. 376ers making legit all-star bids. Tobias, Ben, Joe, all having great seasons as the 76ers get ready for the Portland Trailblazers tonight at Moda Center, coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern, trying to improve to 2-0 on this road trip. But yeah, in all seriousness, this all-star campaign for Tobias Harris is a big deal for him personally. Check out what he told NBA.com earlier today in an article that was published on the website, as told to Sean Powell, one of their reporters, in a Q&A. We are this year sitting at number one. I'm playing the best basketball of my career. It would mean a whole lot that the work I put in, the time and due diligence I put toward the game and my body and being a good teammate and a player is paying off. I'm playing at that level of consistency, and it would be great to be rewarded for that with an all-star selection. How do you help send Tobias Harris to the all-star game, which sounds like it's happening March 7th in Atlanta? This is what you got to do. Go to Twitter, hashtag NBA All-Star, and then hashtag the name of your favorite 76er. You can also tag their official Twitter handle, and that is what you got to do to rack up some of the votes. We got the latest round of fan returns earlier today. Joel Embiid is holding steady at the fifth top vote-getting player among fans in the entire league. He's number 3 in the Eastern Conference. I know everyone in the local Philadelphia area is doing the work to help Tobias Harris out, but spread the word far and wide. This guy's having an amazing season. He's one of 2 players in the entire league to be averaging his points, which is around 20 and a half, to be posting his rebounds and assist numbers while also shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3. Just an amazing year so far for Tobias Harris. So do it. Hashtag NBA All-Star, hashtag or tag Tobias Harris. To tonight's game, 76ers and the Portland Trailblazers. Oh, I should mention, by the way, no Lauren Rosen, of course, tonight. You are stuck with me. Lauren, a deserved break this evening. She'll be back on Saturday when I'll be taking a break, and she'll be with Devon Givens on Saturday, so you won't want to miss that. But the 76ers have the Portland Trailblazers tonight. The Sixers come in with a record of 18-7. The Portland Trailblazers are 13-10 in the middle of the pack in the Western Conference. And the road trip got off to a really nice start with a come-from-behind, close-out fourth-quarter win at Sacramento on Tuesday, 119-111 for the 76ers to start off this 4-game Western Conference string with a win and start with a record of 1-0. As we take a look at some of the highlights, the 76ers getting a big finish from Joel Embiid in the game, but he also got off to a great start, going body to body with a former 76er in Rashawn Holmes. But it was really about the way the 76ers had to battle the pace of Sacramento early on, despite getting off to a strong start. The Sixers hung 42 on the Kings in the first quarter. Very promising. But then as the game went along, Sacramento would start lighting it up from outside the arc. They knocked down 8 3-pointers in the second quarter to help put them in front going into the half, 71-66. And if you've been following along this season, you know the 76ers, not a defense that typically gives up that many points in a half. Talking about 71. But they did, and it was after this point, and a very impressive, another Turkish funk dunk from our man, Furky from Turkey, Furkan Korkmaz, that the 76ers found themselves trying to cut into a deficit after halftime. And they really started to buckle down by grinding through things in the third quarter. They overcame 9 turnovers in that period. And it was really in the fourth quarter when the 76ers shined. It's good to see Seth Curry get back in the mix. He helped carry the 76ers in the first half. He had 16 points in the first half and then a beautiful dish to a dunking Joel Embiid right there. But this was the stage of the game when the 76ers really got back into it. Tobias Harris has been so vital. In addition to putting up great numbers, he has been clutch in the fourth quarter. And here we see a strong performance by Matisse Thybulle with a big block on De'Aaron Fox. Did he not help put the clamps down on De'Aaron Fox or what? And then Joel Embiid with time winding down under 2 minutes, getting the kind finesse roll to help clinch the victory for the 76ers. So it was a really big shutdown performance by the Sixers, as you saw in the highlights. The Sixers in that fourth quarter, they outscored the Sacramento Kings 32-20. They held the Kings to 29.5% shooting, and the Sixers picking up their 11th clutch win of the season. They're 11-1 in clutch games this year. How does the NBA define clutch games? Well, it's a game that's played within 5 points in the final 5 minutes of regulation. Sixers have played 25 games. Nearly half of that total has been a clutch game situation. They've played 12 clutch games. They've gone 11-1 in those games. Really impressive stuff by the Sixers, and showing the mettle of a team that can figure out how to win. And I think that's something that the Sixers did not do consistently enough in years past. But Doc Rivers finding the right combination of personnel to use based on different circumstances, whether the Sixers are coming in from behind or trying to protect a lead. He has been dialing up the right lineup combination so far. The Sixers have been really good in fourth quarters. The latest exhibit of that was obviously on Tuesday night. And I've said it before, if you're in a 76 Live countdown presented by Tissot, I'm going to say it again. Me personally, I think there could be no better building block of trust for a new team and a new head coach than being able to grind out wins late in games, because you've got the coach saying, hey guys, here's my vision, here's my plan. If you execute it, we'll be okay. And the players endorsing that plan, buying in, and actually seeing, feeling, and experiencing that success. So I think that's been a great trait for the 76ers to show so far. You can run the numbers. The Sixers have the best fourth quarter stats in the entire NBA. And their defense and Joel Embiid, a big reason why. When you can shut down opponents defensively and then have a threat like Embiid who can go to the free throw line, draw fouls consistently, and knock down his foul shots, beyond a luxury. Such an essential weapon to have, and the Sixers have it. Here's what Doc Rivers had to say after the Sixers pulled off that 119-111 win at Sacktown on Tuesday.
Yeah, they did, and they let it come to them. I thought, it was interesting at halftime. I think we had, 66 points or 60 points or something like that. We're shooting 52%. And yet you can feel the frustration, like the ball wasn't moving. We didn't get the ball to the right guys. And I said, guys, take a deep breath. We have 60 points and shooting almost 52%. This is pretty good, But then I thought in the second half, our execution, we had 3 plays that we talked about when we got in after the game, that we ran to the final option and got, Tobias or Joel the ball in their spots with spacing. That was beautiful to see.
It really was. And Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid in particular, in terms of scoring, stepped it up in the second half, and in particular, the fourth quarter. Here's a look at their numbers from the second half. In Tuesday's game, Joel Embiid, 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists in the second half alone. If you narrow that down to the fourth quarter, he had 10 points and 6 rebounds. And then Tobias Harris in the second half with 14 points, 7 boards. He scored 12 of those 14 points in the fourth quarter. Some of his fourth quarter numbers have been absolutely outstanding this year, and he's just shown a real clutch knack. I mean, I think back to a game, I know the Sixers didn't win it, but I think it was a sign of things to come with him at the time in hindsight. That Memphis game when the Sixers were shorthanded, Tobias played a big role in giving the Sixers a shot in what was a very close game. He obviously clinched the Lakers game at the buzzer. And here's a look at a Tobias Harris highlight reel from the game on Tuesday in Sacramento. He's just been able to show so much versatility between his facilitating, finding open men with passing, his jump shot, ability to score at all 3 levels, a bring-up guy. Oh, yeah. Give me some music there, Ryan Kletic and Trevor Gaffney. Great production addition to this game. A nice little spin move in the lane by Tobias. But he and Doc Rivers really so much on the same page Tobias being so decisive. And if you were with us at the top of the show where we showed the full screen graphic from that NBA.com article, which is essentially a Q&A between an NBA.com reporter, Sean Powell, and Tobias Harris, one of the things they brought up, in addition to Tobias talking about his desire to be a first-time All-Star this year, was the rapport and the trust that Tobias has with Doc Rivers. And I think that being decisive for Tobias has unlocked everything, because now you can just see the confidence oozing all over Tobias, and he has been as sure and as steady as anyone in the league in a variety of areas, as I said, scoring, rebounding, and dishing out the rock. It has been a great season for Tobias Harris. But rather than hear me ramble on about Tobias Harris, let's hear from the Long Island native himself after Tuesday's win on what the Sixers did in that second half comeback.
Yeah, fourth quarter time, I just wanted to do whatever I can to help the team win. That was like my whole focus in the fourth, was just eye on the prize of winning this game. I was able to get to my spots on the floor, was able to find energy that I needed through the defensive end, and trying to be in there getting rebounds and encouraging everyone else on the court at the time to stay mentally engaged in the game. And it was just a whole accumulation of that, and just being efficient at my spots. So, just doing whatever was needed for a W today.
And listen, personally, I give the Kings credit. They came out, played with a pace that was difficult for the 76ers to handle, made their shots, kind of frustrated Joel Embiid a little bit. And to the 76ers' credit, two of their stars, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, leading the way, helping the 76ers rise to the occasion and close out things in the fourth. In the first part of the game, as I mentioned, we were going through some of the highlights. Seth Curry, he was awesome. 16 points in that first half, helped keep the 76ers close, ended up finishing with 22 points in the game. And Ben Simmons, afterwards, a 76er All-Star, talked about Seth Curry and the effect that he had on the game and how he's been trying to get back into a rhythm after missing some time due to health and safety protocols.
Yeah, it's huge. He's a big part of this team. When he comes out, firing and hitting shots like that, it's great. You want to get him into a rhythm. You want to get Danny into a rhythm. So, when everyone's feeling good out there and, making shots and getting stops defensively, it's enjoyable. And guys want to go out there and play defense and then, lead to breaks and push the ball.
Ben Simmons weighing in on fellow backcourt mate Seth Curry, having himself a great season. Here's a look at Seth's numbers from the Kings game down below. And I think a stat that you can certainly point to as a positive, encouraging sign is that the last two games, Seth has gone 6 for 9 from three-point territory. This was after a spell in a drought during which he went scoreless in 8 quarters. So great, encouraging stuff from Seth Curry. There he is, first-year 76er out of Charlotte. And yeah, you can tell early on when the heat check is there and the hot hand is there for Seth. I think he's kind of underrated going to the basket. He's shown that he can get to the cup and finish. No, you can't give him that much space. Look at that great screen set by the big man, Joe. Step back jumper, top of the key, good for Seth Curry. I mean, look at the point of the game. It was Seth helping light the spark for the 76ers. Put Ben on the block. He doesn't need much airspace. Seth Curry falling in rhythm to knock down a three. Little two-man game on the side. Great screen by Simmons. Simmons has been great setting screens this year. He had, I think, a dozen screen assists in that game against the Kings on Tuesday night. Again, a reminder, vote, especially for Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. Hashtag NBA All-Star. Tag those two guys. They could use a boost from the fans, but I also have faith in the media, the coaches, who will account for a combined 50% of the vote as well. All right, so we have some news about the personnel available for tonight's game for the Sixers. No Shake Milton, as we saw in the game on Tuesday night against the Kings. Shake went down late, so he's not playing in tonight's game. And what does that mean for the rest of the backcourt on the Sixers roster? Could it mean that some guys get additional extended minutes with Shake not out there, maybe someone like Furkan Korkmaz, Or could we see someone like Tyrese Maxey perhaps get some run that he hasn't seen as of late in games? For our Inside Access segment, had the chance to chat with Tyrese briefly after this morning's shoot-around. Here's our quick conversation.
Just wanted to know, how are you using the practice time right now with the team to stay fresh, and what are some of the things that you're working on?
Just working on overall game, knowing scouting reports, trying to do whatever it takes to help this team.
I know the first time around that the Blazers did not have Damian Lillard, but I'm just curious, like, who are some of the NBA guards as you were kind of up through the ranks that you admired, that you looked up to, whose games you really appreciated?
In the past, you kind of just try to take bits and pieces from all of them. Try to take all their pros and build it into one. Speed like Russell Westbrook, guys like De'Aaron Fox, shooting as Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, and finishing like Kyrie. Different things like that.
Thanks, Tyrese.
You might have been wondering, who is that masked man who made a cameo midway through the interview? Well, that is one of the most important people behind the scenes in the whole operation. Our public relations manager extraordinaire, Rob King, the true facilitator within the internal confines of the 76ers, getting us the content we need. So shout out to the great. There he is. Devonair. Look at this fella. You can't find many people better than Robbie K. Really appreciate everything that Rob does for us, setting up interviews and all that stuff. Well done, Rob, and thank you. So Tyrese is actually a guy that we talk about on the next episode of the Friday Deep Dive on the 76ers Podcast Network. You can look for that tomorrow. Myself, Devon Givens, Lauren Rosen, we go all in on talking about what makes a good role player in the context of the 76ers. We know that they're all-star candidates like Embiid and Simmons and Tobias Harris, but for the Sixers to get to where they want to go, they're going to need some really great role players, and the three of us think they have them. We're going to get into that on tomorrow's episode of the Friday Deep Dive. Get it every Friday on the 76ers Podcast Network main feed. Search 76ers Podcast Network wherever you get your pods. Look for that around middle of the day tomorrow. And we also have a brand new feed as part of our stable, The Scoop. Some of the episodes appear on the main feed just to give you a taste, introduce you to what The Scoop is. But what it is a 5-minute daily podcast from us. It's on its own feed. Search 76ers Scoop wherever you get your pods. The morning of and morning after every game, myself, Lauren Rosen, and Matt Murphy, who's doing a great job with the Blue Coats, we give you all the news you need to unpack in just 5 minutes. So again, subscribe to that, follow it, listen. It'll be there literally first thing in the morning, just about every time zone, wherever you are as a 76er fan. Look for it. Search 76ers Scoop wherever you subscribe to podcasts. Sixers have revenge in Rip City on their mind tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. Truly, for my crunchy granola sensibilities, one of the great stops on the NBA circuit. I saw another one of our great PR friends, Patrick Reese, stopped at Voodoo Donuts. He had donuts for dinner. You got to do it when you're in Rip City. Great place. And one of the great atmospheres in the NBA. And it's, again, just hopefully at some point soon, we can all mask up, get vaccinated, and get back to doing things like going to live sporting events, because Moda Center is one of the best places in the NBA to watch a game. They obviously have one of the GOATs, Carmelo Anthony, future Hall of Famer, walking into Moda Center tonight. 76ers lost that game last Thursday at the Center, 121-105. Melo was a big reason why the Sixers came up short in that game, looking a little bit ageless as we check out some of the highlights. A game in which the Sixers did not have Ben Simmons available. The Trailblazers also did not have Damian Lillard. Now, they're not going to have C.J. McCollum or Yusuf Nurkic for a while. That was an injury scare that Joe had against Enes Kanter, and he fortunately ended up being okay. That was in the first quarter. But Damian Lillard has since returned after missing that Sixers game last Thursday, and he's combined to score 65 points on 11 of 22 shooting from three his last two games. So Damian Lillard, truly one of the outstanding guards in the NBA, one of the outstanding players in the NBA. His head coach, Terry Stotts, said before tonight's game he thinks he is the best point guard in the league. There are some really good ones, but tough to find players as dangerous as Dalla Dame in the league right now. So the 76ers are going to have their hands full with Damian Lillard tonight, you would think. But personally, I've talked about this before. I like it when the 76ers play an opponent as close to full strength as possible. They've missed some good guys. Jason Tatum from the Celtics, Jimmy Butler from the Heat. Who else? Who did they just play? That's right. They didn't have C.J. McCollum. They didn't have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant against the Brooklyn Nets last Saturday. So I want to see the Sixers taking on Dame and Portland tonight. Rocco, a member of Portland as well. So a good test for the 76ers as we get to our keys to the game presented by Tissot. Tonight, I believe we have one key because it's just me. And my key is deny the drive. When Damian Lillard plays for the Portland Trailblazers, you know how much he drives to get to the hoop. He is top 10 in scoring off drives in the league. It opens everything else up. So 76ers deny the drive, particularly to Damian Lillard. And I think that for Portland, something that they're probably keyed in on is obviously Joel Embiid, but it was interesting hearing from Terry Stotts before the game, the head coach of Portland. He said that one thing that they're really on the lookout for, their first priority is to deny the 76ers clean looks from three, which, and I know that I'm totally going beyond the 24 seconds right now. It's an interesting point that Terry Stotts made because the Sixers, they aren't the highest volume three-point shooting team. They don't need to be because they get to the foul line so often. Like, for example, Tuesday night against Sacramento, the Sixers made just 9 3-pointers, but they've been efficient shooting threes given the quality of shooters they have, in namely Seth Curry and also Danny Green. But then there's Joel, who's having a career season from three, Tobias, who has been outstanding from deep. So the Sixers have been really efficient from three. It's something the opposition has to respect, as reflected by Terry Stotts' pregame comments. And then the second key for Portland is obviously trying to mix up looks on Joel Embiid. So that's the scouting report from the Portland side of things. Before we leave, keys to the game, presented by Tissot. I'm a gesticulator, for better or worse, for all of you streaming out there. But I do have this brand new Tissot Chrono XL watch that I'm rocking, thanks to the awesome, generous, amazing partners that we have at Tissot for sending us some nice timepieces. Tissot, of course, is the official watch of the NBA. They actually have a contest where if there's a team that wins at the buzzer, you go to tissotwatches.com, enter to win a free great watch like this. But the awesome thing about Tissot is that it's affordable luxury and affordable style. It's innovative. It's Swiss made. Really stylish. I mean, this watch right here, we got some true leather from the rock itself. You know, if you look on the side, it's great. So thank you, Tissot. Find them on Instagram at tissot.us, on Twitter at Tissot. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Tissot. Thank you to you for streaming along and watching. Thank you to Ryan Coletti and Trevor Gaffney, Lauren Rosen, and Devon Givens. Love that we're getting Devon in the mix. They will be your hosts on Saturday when the Sixers have a 3 o'clock matinee against the Phoenix Suns. Look for a fresh episode of The Scoop recapping tonight's game tomorrow on the Scoop's feed. Just search 76ers Scoop wherever you get your pods. And I will talk to you next on Monday. The 76ers go up against the Utah Jazz, top team out of the West. All right, drink your caffeine, all that good stuff. Enjoy the game tonight. See ya.